Okay, we started chapter 1 talking about how to display numbers in order, and now we're moving into chapter 2, which is about measures of central tendency and variability. So measures of central tendency is what we're going to start with. We'll learn about the mean, median, and mode. And then after we do those, we'll move on to standard, deviation, range, and variance. Not in that order, but those are the measures of variability that we'll learn. Again, central tendency is about the mean, median, and mode. Variability is about standard deviation, range, and variance. So those are the 6 things we're going to really focus on in this next chapter. Hello students, we're back and I'm going to be narrating through the first PowerPoint lecture that I've posted. It starts off with Statistics 1. I like the quote, "Statistics are like bikinis. What they reveal is suggestive, but what they cover up is vital." I'll let you think about that one. That's from Aaron Levinston. So who am I? I already talked a bit about my story. What are the stats on me? Things you could measure about me. In psychology, we have a tough time because you want to be able to measure something and then also quantify it. And sometimes these things are quantifiable, like the first one, which is I'm 6'3", 200 and, well, it says 5. Because I did this a while ago. I've added 10 pounds since the COVID thing, so 215. But those are things you could measure about me, and you could chart them mathematically. You could graph them, and they would describe me versus other people who had different heights and weights. Where am I from? See, this is a categorical variable. Categorical variable is that I'm from San Jose, California. I wasn't born there, but I grew up in San Jose, California, specifically Almaden Valley, and later my parents moved to Eastside. I graduated UC Irvine with my degree in cognitive science. I was a college athlete. I already told you the story about that. Not all the stories, but a good one. I got my PhD in neuropsychology. I'm an avid sports fan. These are all categorical things about me. Now, you might say, well, what are your interests, right? Those are things that you might have interests. Maybe you like video games. Maybe you like quilting. Maybe you like going to the movies. Maybe you like sports like me. But I also love other things like neuroscience, philosophy, history, animals, woodworking, and playing basketball. I was hired from Brooklyn College. This is one where you might be able to quantify some aspects of geography, but it's also difficult because this is a category, right? Where is Brooklyn College? I was hired in the fall of 2009. That's something that you could quantify, and it's a discrete variable. It happened exactly at a certain day. I had a hire date. Another thing you might be able to quantify about me is my teaching load. So I'm teaching 2 classes in statistics, like this one. I'm teaching 2 general psychology classes and 1 human sexuality class this semester. Those might be things. I'm teaching 5 classes, right? So that's something you could measure about me and quantify the stat. Something you couldn't quantify about me is that I love teaching. Teaching is my passion. Teaching is what I love doing. And it's really, it's going to be a difficult semester given that I'm teaching online, and that's not my desire. My desire is to be with you. I enjoy getting to know you. It's one of the real perks of my job is that I get new and interesting people coming through my classroom every semester, and I get to develop a relationship with you. Sometimes those are quantified as good relationships, neutral ones, or bad ones, depending on how things go. But I enjoy that process of getting to know people, and this is going to be difficult for me. I'm going to struggle. I'm going to want to know what it's like for you when you're watching this video, when you're going through the PowerPoints. I'm going to want to know. It might be difficult for me, but you can't really quantify how much I love teaching. It's going to be different. Most important factor about me is that I'm a husband and I'm a father. Being a husband is the most important thing I do. It's imperative to who I am. It's my goal is to promote and stay committed constantly in my marriage. This is something that a lot of people don't necessarily explicitly say. They might do it in action, but I want to make it explicit and say it, right? So that's different from me, from other folks. If you quantified, a lot of folks will say, oh, kids are the most important thing in their lives. My kids aren't the most important thing in my life. My marriage is. So that makes me different, right? But different is interesting, and different gives you a sense of me. My kids are the second most important thing about my life. Without my commitment to my marriage, I don't think I would be as good of a father. I learned from my wife. She teaches me how to be a better husband and a better person. So that commitment to her, the commitment to our relationship, is more important. Again, you might have different points of view. You might not have a relationship that you're committed to. You might not have children, but those are aspects about me that guide my sense of the world, my Weltanschauung, as you would say in German. The worldview I have is a specific one, and it has values. I have a hierarchy of values that I've shared with you, and that's not something that people do a lot or understand a lot. Teaching, being a professor, is right up under those other much more important ones of family, right? But there is a value system that each of us judge things on, a system, a hierarchical system of valences that we use to navigate our world. While the importance of my marriage and my children come first, next comes my career and how I'm pursuing that. Maybe equal with community. But family first, and then my job. So I want you guys to also have a sense of, you can work very hard at something, and I'm going to attempt to work very hard. I'm making all these videos for you guys. I'm doing all these PowerPoints. I'm going to be active in reading your emails and Zooming with you. But a really important thing to remember is that I have another higher calling, and that is to my wife and to my family. So if you don't get an email from me right away after you've sent me an email, don't be perturbed. You are important to me. I place a very high value on you, especially you being gone makes me more concerned about how the process is. I'm not going to get to easily check in on you by just looking at you in the classroom every day. It's going to be more difficult for me. So please be patient with me. If there are times that you have not heard from me and you think that it's been too long, perhaps I screwed up. I do that all the time. I make mistakes. Maybe I deleted your email. This has happened before. Send me another one. But be patient, be forgiving. I'm a human, I make mistakes too. The Canvas website is going to be our primary place that we work. It's going to be the primary spot that you go to receive information, to watch videos, to do quizzes, and if we have any quizzes, I don't know if I'll do any yet. But exams will be on the Canvas website. That's where you're going to be submitting your work. You will need to email me, so you have to have a Gmail address for Los Rios in order to participate in this class. Yeah, but Canvas is our primary place that we're going to find everything. In fact, you'll find this video on Canvas. Now, the lectures are basically whenever you want. I am going to prioritize and have the time available in the mornings for you guys to check in with you and interact when we have. So I'll be available. But sometimes those lectures are just, you will press play on the video that I've done and you'll watch those videos during the lecture time. I am not requiring you to do them then, but these lectures are important. I've spent the time to make these videos. I think that my insights and how to do this is important, helpful, more helpful for some of you. So again, I'm not requiring a participation like, tell me how many fingers I held up in the middle of this lecture. That to me is dumb, and I don't need to treat you like your children. You now have to develop yourselves as independent learners. Watch whenever you want. I will try to be available as much as possible, and that will be a way for us to connect and to communicate and to clarify things that have not been made fully or have not been fully elucidated for you in the online environment. I want to be available to you, but you are doing most of this independently. Where is the location for our lecture? Well, I'm mostly in my garage. When I Zoom with you, I'm going to be out there because I'm going to have kids in my house who are also taking classes online and are doing all their work. So it's going to be a chaotic environment, which is going to be difficult, but it's also one that we can deal with. Remember, things that don't kill you make you stronger.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
The machinations of life as they are currently. But I think if we figure out ways to do it, what works for us, if we're constantly looking for learning from our mistakes and improving our outcomes, then we'll get better. But I'm going to be hanging out in my garage waiting for you guys to log on to the Zoom calls and task me with anything that you need help with or answer any questions that may arise. My email is frazij at crc.losrios.edu. Again, it's frazij at crc.losrios.edu. Yep, so that's where you get me. Office hours are going to be interesting. So I'm going to treat those morning times as a potential office hour for us and see how they work. If they don't work, then we're going to adjust them. I want to be mostly available to you. Again, there's the valence of family, so there is priorities with my time, but you guys are next on the priority list. So let's figure out a time through this semester where I can have as much contact with you as is necessary and as is possible. I don't like this distance learning because it means there's a distance between us, and when we connect online, I'm pretty sure that we're going to be able to solve these problems and get you on the right track to study the correct thing so that you're prepared and ready for the assessments in this class, and that will help you to pass the class. My office is in BS 109, but I'm not really allowed on campus unless I get special permissions, nor are you. Although I did sneak on campus and shoot some cool drone footage. Once. By sneak, I mean I got permission, I called the police, they let me on campus, I went into my office, and then I went home. And I called them, because I have to call them when I leave too. That's the ridiculousness of this whole pandemic. My office phone is don't call me. I'm not going to be on my office phone, and so what happens is I won't be in my office, I can't answer that phone, and what it does is if you leave a message, it's going to send me an email with a really bad transcript of the words you said on the voicemail. It is kind of funny to see how the computer does with translating English, but I'm not going to get that as best. I'll have to listen to it on some sort of a WAV file or something, or MP4. You could just email me, type it out. That way I can respond specifically to your needs. So don't call me, even if you find my phone number somewhere on a website somewhere. Calling me isn't going to be the best way to contact me. It would be email, and I won't get it. I won't even be in my office. So what are we going to cover in this class? This is an important thing. Mostly we're going to cover statistics, but I'm hoping to cover more things like research and preparing you for, many of you are taking this class because you're psychology majors, and this class is a prerequisite for our Psych 335 research methods. So the goal of this class is not just for me, as I've said before, that I'm going to be helping you to develop a critical eye and use numbers to make rational decisions, but also that we're moving from that to a mindset of research. And then statistics, once it's sort of been embedded in your thinking, research becomes the thing and methodology becomes the thing that you should be focused on. And so that's going to be the sort of growth pattern that I want you to have, is first answering questions with numbers, and then what type of questions to be asking. That's going to be really important. So we're going to cover statistics and science. We're going to cover descriptive statistics. I think we'll talk about that in this lecture. We'll talk about frequency distributions. I already made a video on one on frequency tables, if you've watched that one yet. Measures of central tendency, that'll be another video that you watch. The normal curve, standard scores, correlations, linear regression, random sampling, probabilities 1 and 2, type 1 and type 2 errors, power, sampling distributions, testing, t-test for single samples, t-test for correlated groups, independent groups, intro to ANOVA 1 and 2, intro to two-way ANOVA, probably going to skip that, chi-square, which is my favorite statistic, and non-parametric tests. I'll only touch on those. I don't think we're going to be learning them. Binomial distributions and hypothesis testing will be things that are ubiquitous and pervasive throughout this course. So those are our topics. If you read the SLOs, the Student Learning Outcomes, it basically teaches you, they're on the syllabus, so go check out the syllabus. It teaches you exactly what the goals I have as an instructor are for you to develop your competencies by the time you pass this class. Our book, again, is Statistics for Psychology by Aaron and Coops. A couple things about the text. I've already described it once, but I want to tell you how important this text is. It has now become even more important because it's what's going to be there for every time that you study this. You got to get this textbook. It's a really important one. Now, a lot of you will ask me a couple questions. Do I need this edition? The one that I have for you is the 6th edition. No, but it's better. No, but it's the one I'm using. Could you use an older version? Sure. In fact, you could probably use a different statistics textbook, but you won't get what I'm talking about. You won't understand the analogies that I'm using. I'm going to talk about the examples that are in the book. Of course, I'm going to use my own examples, but this is what is important for us. So when you consider whether or not to buy the book, I would suggest you do it. And here's why. It's expensive, but if you can't afford it, you need to be making your college a bigger priority in your life. And if you need help with learning how to earn money or get special help when you can't afford a textbook, there's all sorts of programs that will purchase textbooks for you if you can't afford them. So you're going to need to do some of the footwork here. But this is kind of like a little hoop to jump through. Like, if you can't get the textbook, what are you doing in college? These textbooks are important. It's curated all of the material that we're going to cover, and it's written about it by experts who have been teaching this for years. So it's the best help you can get. You know, previously I talked about I needed help with a tutor, right? And I needed to see the TA and I needed to see the professor, but I had to have the book. If I didn't have the book, they would have said, go get the book before you come to see us. So again, you're going to need to get this textbook. If you can't get this textbook, I need you to email me and we are going to get one for you. Actually, you're going to get one for you. I'm just going to help you do it. And I'm going to help you develop your competency in independently seeking out resources for yourself. Because I'm not interested in having you rely on me for things. I'm interested in you developing your own skills to rely on yourself so that you can even help me when I'm in need. In this class, a lot of times, and what I'm going to miss about teaching psychology statistics is that students often will show me where I'm wrong. And that's helpful to me because that develops me, that makes me better. Much of what I'm going to teach you here, I learned because I taught something else and students said, nope, that's not right. Here's what's right. So again, we're in this learning experience together. I'm often wrong. Don't be mad at me if I'm wrong, just point it out, and then I can improve. If you don't point it out, if you sit there seething about, he's wrong, he said this and he's wrong, I'm going to say all sorts of things that are going to make you mad. But let's explore those together. We're in this together. We are united as a class. I'm the professor, you're the students. We're a thing. If what you do is you say, he said something that made me mad, he said something I don't like, and you don't tell me that you didn't like it, I can't respond to your experience of hearing that. And I can't tell you, I can't clarify, did you get what I was trying to convey to you? Or did I say something that made you think I was describing something that is not what I mean? I want you to clarify. I don't want you to sit there and just say, he said something I don't like. I want you to say, Professor, you said this. Do you mean that? It makes me upset. I don't like that, or I don't understand that. You said this and it doesn't make sense to me. I use words not perfectly. So when I say something and it's unclear and you don't tell me that I have said something that's unclear, in my mind I might be thinking I clarified that to you, but you haven't shared with me. So I'm going to need your help, especially in an online format. I can remake videos. I'm spending all my time this summer, actually when you watch this it'll be last summer, making these videos. Instead of doing what I normally do in the summer, I'm doing videos now. I can also spend time during the semester fixing those videos. This is the first time I've made videos for an online class. Now, when I started here, they had me teach on TV. So I was teaching one of those classes that they broadcast locally on television. And I taught Psych 300. I never taught Psych 330 on it. But I have videos of that, and I've gone back and looked at my teaching, and it's embarrassing. It's like watching yourself on like, old family movies of you playing Pop Warner or T-ball or something like that. You look really silly. I feel that way about my teaching back then, even though I still have some recordings of it that were broadcast on the television locally. Reality check. This class is a math class. It satisfies the exact same requirements for transfer, which is your lower division math and the IGETSI transfer model curriculum, as say Stat 300, which is a course that's given by the statistics department. The nice thing about this class is that we're focused on humans, we're focused on statistics. We're focused on statistics about people. This class is mathematics, and so I'm required to teach you certain mathematical principles and required to assess that you have learned those mathematical principles for you to get credit to move on to transfer to the university. So please recognize this is a math class. It is difficult. It is hard. The final will be cumulative. It's not like you could sort of scoot through half of this semester and then all of a sudden pick up and graduate or get your degree, because this class builds on itself. From the very beginnings, when we talk about descriptive statistics and inferential statistics, we move up through, I think the hardest part of this class will be ANOVA, not correlation and chi-square, which come after that, but it will be ANOVA, and ANOVA is a difficult math concept. It's beautiful, it's interesting, there's a good story behind it. A lot of this class I'm going to use narrative and stories to help you guys think through what it took for the mathematicians, statisticians to come up with these ideas. I know that you can do this. So I do want to tell you math is difficult. You're going to have to calculate difficult math formulas. It is one of the most difficult classes our psych department offers, if not the most. And you're going to be frustrated with me, with the book, with yourself. I'm asking for patience. I'm asking you to trust me. This class is fun for me because I know that students who are struggling, at the end there's a payoff, and that payoff is beautiful and it's fun to watch. You don't learn math or you don't learn statistics in a linear way. You're going to put in a lot of work, study, and your understanding isn't going to grow. And you'll get frustrated, like, I've been spending these hours studying and I don't feel like I'm learning anything. What ends up happening though is that if you persist, you get big jumps in your understanding, not sort of a linear fashion, almost a stepwise increase, and these big aha moments happen. I know when it happens during the semester, so I can start almost predicting when it will. I'm not going to tell you because then it'll be a self-fulfilling prophecy, but I'll describe it to you sort of after it's happened for you. I'll say, hey, do you recognize that you just gained a massive insight right away, like right now in this moment, just discussing this with me, that you went from a lack of understanding, putting in all this effort, to boom, now you have the perfect understanding and everything sort of makes sense. Think of one of those like magic eye pictures where it shows a grid of sort of, geometric shapes or whatever in different shades and hues and values, intensities, and you look at it and it makes your eyes hurt. But once that clicks for your eyes, you see this three-dimensional object, and it's really interesting for you. Similarly, cognitively, that's what happens to people with statistics, is you go, I don't understand what a sampling distribution is. I'm not sure why we're using confidence intervals. I don't know what probability is. And then it really pops in your mind, and cognitively you take this massive jump. So be patient despite the fact that you're going to be frustrated. This class probably won't be your favorite class. I told you it's mine, but the work's hard and difficult and can be tedious. It probably won't be your favorite class. Maybe it will. I hope it is, but have that as a reality. And note that you're going to have to put in extra work because it's not something that you're going to desire. You're going to have to schedule your time for study. You're going to have to make sacrifices to ensure that you have enough brain power to engage this material. This class will probably take the majority of your study time. That's just a finite reality, is that you're only allowed to take a certain amount of classes, and this class is going to be high intensity for your time outside of the classwork, working independently and studying on your own. If you can't devote enough time to this class, drop now. On the wait list, there's already enough people in my 2 stats classes that I could fill up a whole nother class. I don't know why they haven't added another class. I'd be happy to teach it, but there has something to do with the administration doesn't have enough money to teach a class because they're all worried about finances and the world's falling apart, and oh no. But there are people who are willing to take this class, who want to take this class, and oftentimes when they add this specific class in Psychology 330, they do very well. The ones who have a high desire for it but didn't get it in their schedule for some reason or another, but they want to add it. If you're somebody who's like, man, I can't devote enough time, I got so much else going on, there's no way I can devote the hours required, please drop the class now and allow for other people to get in. I'm only going to be adding for the first week. That's it. And I will only add when people drop. So if you're saying, yeah, I'm not sure about this, then email me and we can discuss it.